Pretty sure my husband is cheating. I need a lot of advice and support from those going through the same thing right now. Last month, 3 days before our son's first birthday, I found a Condom and an empty bottle of lube in our car. It had to have been placed there within the previous 3-4 days because I had just barely cleaned the car. I confronted my husband and he denied he knew it was in there and that it was his. I collapsed on the ground. I was so upset. We've talked again since then and he still swears up and down that he's never done anything that would be considered cheating. Today I casually scrolled through his phone and found a message to some unknown woman on Snapchat that said I'll be dreaming of TTs when I get home. I am so beyond hurt. He's about to leave the military. We're supposed to move in 12 days and I am terrified. I want to use the free legal service on our military base before we leave, but I don't feel like I have any specific definitive proof. I don't want to tear my family apart on suspicion alone. Please send any advice or help. Update, trust your gut. Just to. Some of you may remember my story. The TLDR version is I found Condoms and lube in our car. He swears it wasn't him and he's messaging other girls inappropriate things. I got really overwhelmed by everything, so I took a week or so to just wait and try to find out more information. I've been checking his phone because I knew something was wrong but couldn't find anything. Well, he finally slipped up. He's messaging all of his exes everything he wants to do to them. So it's happening. I'm leaving him. I already had a free consultation with a divorce attorney, got checked for STDs clear thankfully, and now I have the solid proof I needed. He has absolutely no idea that I know. I stayed the course, kept things normal, and just quietly sat back and waited for him to get too cocky. Thank you to each and every one of you who sent me messages and offered advice and support. It has been a quiet comfort in a sea of agony. Does anyone have any ideas of how to serve him with the divorce papers? We have a 1-year-old son together. We're supposed to be going on vacation this week. I'm flying out early and he'll meet up later. I'm obviously not going to show up, so what's the best game plan here? Is it worth it to try to get him to admit everything? Or do I just send the pictures I got of all the messages and just say OBTW I filed for divorce? What are your petty revenge ideas? Updating the update. We're in a bit of a weird situation. We live in military housing and we are supposed to move out today. Technically we don't have to move until the end of June, but I have to get everything in order today because the moving truck is already packed. I confronted him, ended up waking him up by reading the messages out loud, and then he tried saying it was only one woman. I read more messages and he just stopped talking. I don't think he expected me to say I was divorcing him. Is it supposed to feel this shitty? I'm just now starting to feel the heartache. This sucks. Update. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm back, guys. So I told my WS that I want a divorce. He begged me to stay and said he would work on things. I'm not quite in a position to hire my lawyer yet, so I figured what's the harm in at least seeing what he's going to do. It's been a week and I've given him plenty of time to think things over. We just had another conversation and I am completely at peace with my decision to leave. He refuses to cut contact with the woman he messaged, saying she's so ducking hot and her TTS are perfect and amazing. He is still Snapchatting her actually. He told her he's not allowed to talk to her anymore and also told his entire family I'm overreacting over him complimenting a girl's TTS and ass. He will not come up with any solution to rebuild my trust and quite frankly doesn't see anything wrong with messaging his exes about how bad he wants to duck them. I can't wait to quietly play the part of sweet forgiving housewife, and then blindside him with still going through with the divorce. This man does not respect me and I shouldn't have to beg for his attention. Update. Sick of me yet? A semi-update. Backstory. Husband has been inappropriately messaging other women like a 13-year-old boy while I solo parent our 1-year-old. I am leaving. In 4 days. I have the flights booked and everything. After I told him I was leaving last month, he begged me to stay and work things out for the next 30 days. I didn't really have any options of where to go yet, so I figured, what's another month? Well, he swore up and down that he would stop messaging her. He was livid that I went through his phone, but couldn't really say anything about it because guess what? I found an emotional affair. He also promised to split nights with me to take care of our son, split the house chores more evenly, and continue to work on rebuilding trust. Yeah, that lasted for a week. He's back to playing video games for 12+ hours a day while I'm back to being the house slave. The past few days he's been weirdly protective of his phone, so after he fell asleep last night I checked. And shocker, he's still messaging her. Luckily I have already been meeting with lawyers and coordinating an exit strategy the entire time. I am so ready to be free. Free of the guilt, free of his anger, free of the burden that I've been carrying. I'm also terrified. I'm so scared of being a single parent. I'm terrified of the upcoming custody battle. Even though this will be the hardest thing I will probably endure, I still know that I deserve better. So I'm going to find it. Update, another kind of D-Day. Some of you folks may remember me. I posted a few months ago about world's most immature husband. Key phrase, your TTS, though I haven't seen them, are amazing and perfect. Not sure how to link my previous post, but I'm sure you could check my history if you are so inclined. A lot of you gave me some great advice, and per the norm, I decided to forego it at least for the time being. I needed to see things through and see who it was that I was actually married to. And let me tell you, it's been like pulling teeth to get the bare minimum. It took months of fighting for him to watch our baby long enough for me to make dinner. It's been beyond exhausting. I've been losing steam little by little for about 4 months now. Well, today he texted me at 11 a.m. to let me know that he was done. He's divorcing me. It's honestly laughable. What? You couldn't handle forgiveness and love? I'm in shock, really confused, and indescribably relieved. Part of me feels ashamed for not being strong or brave enough to have done it myself, but if I'm being honest, I just wasn't ready to let go yet. I did absolutely everything that was asked of me and more. I did everything I could to keep this marriage together because, even though he's a lazy scumbag that messages girls on Instagram and lies about STDs, I still care about him. I know how much pain and suffering he's bringing on himself. And I truly wished I could spare him. But I am done now. My job is done. And I can hold my head high knowing that I always stayed true to myself. I'm loyal to a fault, even if he wasn't. If you're in the same boat as me, hello friend. I feel your pain. Sometimes you need just a little bit longer before you're ready. And that's okay. It's okay if you need a little more time to feel strong enough to be on your own. But as so many people have said again and again, they just will not change. I don't have any idea what to expect from the next chapter, but regardless of what comes, it will be better than staying with a cheating man, baby. He will never change. I cannot keep throwing love into the void and expecting it to somehow find me back. Update, heartbroken about the future. I'm a newly single mom to an almost 2-year-old. STB ex-husband and I split up in October, and I'm still trying to process just how quickly everything has changed. A little background: we were married for 2 years, accidental, but wanted pregnancy earlier on into dating, and while ex was never super involved, he still spent time with our son every day. He spent 90% of his time at home with us, so they were around each other a lot. We had been struggling for a while over him not being a more involved parent though. He rarely participated in any care tasks, has changed less than 20 diapers, wouldn't help with feedings, didn't do nighttime routine, but he would usually play with our son for about an hour every day. Now that we're going through the divorce process, he's claiming he wants 50-50 custody and wants to have our son 4 days out of the week. Here's the thing though, he has canceled almost every visitation we've scheduled so far. It's so bizarre to me that you could go from seeing your child every single day to barely sticking to 3 hours a week. This whole thing just breaks my heart for my son. I truly think we will both be better off without my ex in our lives, but I know that eventually my son will have questions. He's going to want to know what happened and why his dad doesn't want to see him. And I honestly don't have the answer to that. I can't shield him from his father's selfishness. He's 20 months old and asks for his daddy almost every day. Ex won't call, won't FaceTime, won't even ask how he's doing. I never expected to be in this situation, and it's becoming more and more daunting realizing how much of this I really be doing completely alone. How did you ease the blow or support your young kids through a SID, unreliable parent? Redditor's reactions with op answers. Redditor 1, stories like me make me glad my husband is dead. I know it sounds heartless, but he was abusive and we're better off without him. It is much easier to say dad is dead than dad is refusing to be a dad through no fault of your own. Redditor follow-up, you're lucky. I wish my ex was dead too. Then he can stop abusing his current girlfriend and her daughter. Redditor 2, therapy helps a lot. My ex hasn't been in the picture since he left in July and his last phone call to the kids was in October. I let him check himself out. At first he was saying he wanted weekends, then it was every other, then it was once a month, now he acts like we don't exist, which is fine. I gave him every opportunity to see the kids knowing he wasn't going to keep it up and he checked out quickly. I don't call him for anything. I keep my sanity that way. He wasn't really involved either. I had to ask him to play with our son and would often tell him that their relationship could really benefit from quality one-on-one time outside of the time he had to watch him while I was at work and daycare was closed. My son used to ask for Dada and he would point at white trucks wanting to play in the bed. What I learned pretty quickly is that his Dada at the most was an old toy. He liked saying the words and he wanted to play in the truck, but in all actuality he didn't want to see him. I drilled the word Dada in his head because it was a way to strengthen their relationship, so I thought and maybe my ex would want to spend more quality time with him. He didn't actually have a Dada. He was asking for something different than the word, if that makes sense. Now he doesn't ask about him at all and he's way happier without him in our lives. We split when our son was about 20 months for context. Don't beat yourself up over being a single parent. If it was easy for that guy to walk out, he didn't need to be there. You do not need another burden who's supposed to be an adult. My bet is that in 6 months you'll look back realizing how great he's slowly checking himself out. Sorry for the long post. You've got this. Redditor follow-up, you do not need another burden who's supposed to be an adult. This ice these. My ex being gone made both of our lives so much less stressful, more stable, more calm, more peaceful. Ex being around only added strife, tension, stress, heartbreak, uncertainty, instability, the list goes on. He didn't work, didn't parent, didn't do it. He was nothing but a burden. While single parenting is still hard, life is so much easier without him. Redditor 3, I hate hearing stories like this. It's like the 50-50 custody for him is less about his desire to actually interact and care for your son and more about obtaining power in the divorce. Sad for your son because it's not like he's demonstrated the capacity to care. Op answer, exactly. I can't tell how much of this is A, trying to gain more control over the situation, B, trying to get back at me, or C, trying to reduce child support as much as possible. I highly suspect an undiagnosed personality disorder is at play. There have been multiple instances in our marriage where he lacked the capacity to feel empathy for either myself or our baby. I'm not actively worried about abuse occurring when my son is with him, but there have been borderline situations to where I don't feel like he's completely safe. It's extremely frustrating knowing that my ex wants nothing to do with fatherhood, knowing he won't actually take care of our toddler, and yet I feel little to no control of the situation to where I can protect my child. It's endlessly frustrating. Redditor 4, the best thing that ever happened to my ex was becoming a single dad. He stepped up his game and became an engaged parent to our child. It isn't perfect, but sometimes terrible situations turn out to be the best scenario. You're in the asset right now, so hang in there. Redditor 5, I think of it as having to force him to be a father means that he would be an awful father. You'll always feel a sense of guilt, but try to keep a level head in that you're doing the absolute best you can, and you cannot force his grown man of a father to do anything. One stable and loving parent is better than any scenario you could imagine. Later, when he has questions, it is appropriate to answer in an age-appropriate manner that is honest. Always be honest, but don't talk badly of the other parent. They'll have plenty of time to figure that out on their own. Answer: yes, sadly it's been going down this road for a while. I didn't realize how much of my time I spent requiring him to be a better parent. For me, that was a non-negotiable in our marriage. He has finally shown me who he really is. I guess it just still surprises me. It's been made pretty clear that he doesn't want to be involved, so I wish he would just leave and not confuse our son further. Honestly, I think his involvement is entirely for show at this point. I think my biggest worry is how to talk to my son about this. I plan on getting back into therapy and asking about appropriate ways to be honest but kind with my son as he gets older. It just really sucks to feel so blindsided. X's entire family is completely floored by his behavior. We had been living with his family for several months when the split happened. No one had any idea this is who he really is. He's hidden it well.